Hello there, Joel from Adventure Vehicles Northwest, and today we're going to do an installation video on our vacuum delete Cummins B-Series direct mount power steering pump adapter kit that we sell through the Adventure Vehicles website. A link for the product will be in the description below. So when you guys order this vacuum delete or direct mount power steering pump adapter, you get the following in the box. You get a OEM Cummins gear. This is the exact same gear that they used on the bread vans that ran this style power steering pump adapter. Obviously, you get the power steering pump aluminum adapter, 3 of the correct socket head cap screws, 2 of the correct Cummins style flange bolts for mounting it to your timing cover. And then finally, some Loctite pin retaining compound, which is a anaerobic Loctite product that helps to ensure you get a solid connection on the precision ground gear adapter to your power steering pump. And so over here we have just your kind of standard off the shelf remanufactured power steering pump, and we like to use the retaining compound because then hopefully you guys can see there is some discrepancy in the sizing on these Saginaw shafts, especially when you're using a remanufactured pump. So good idea to use the retaining compound on the Saginaw pump if you buy a remanufactured, or even if you don't. It's just good insurance that that gear is never going to come off. So what power steering pumps do you need? You need a power steering pump with a 3/4 inch press-on style shaft, as well as the Saginaw bolt pattern. They were commonly used in GM Hydro Boost, non-Hydro Boost applications. They're readily available aftermarket from all kinds of different pump vendors. So anyway, start with a compatible Saginaw power steering pump as well as our kit. In addition to the whatever power steering pump you're going to run, you're also going to need some RTV sealant for the bolts. We like to use the Permatex Right Stuff, as well as some brake parts cleaner so that you can make sure that you remove any oil residue off of any of the sealing surfaces or any of the press fit surfaces. So first step is to go ahead and get the power steering pump aluminum adapter bolted to the actual power steering pump. First things first, we're going to take our cork gasket, and you don't have to go crazy, but I do like to put just a very light coat of the RTV on the gasket itself. That helps to retain it in the aluminum adapter, keeps things kind of stuck together. And then the cork gasket seals right around this surface here. So I like to put just a small amount around that metal surface there. Smooth it out with your fingers so you don't have any big globs. Okay, and then next, these bolts usually come and they have some oil residue on them, and it's important to use your brake cleaner to get rid of any of that oil residue. So we got our bolts totally cleaned up. They don't have any oil residue. As you can see, you have 2 long bolts. Use the 2 long ones and 1 short bolt. So they will correspond, the 2 long bolts go here and are for this position, and the shorter bolt is for that position. Hopefully you can kind of see that that is a different plane. So we'll go ahead and get this guy set where he needs to go. So I like to put quite a bit of silicone underneath of that bolt head like that. Hopefully you guys can see that. And you take a 8mm socket. And we'll take a rag and wipe off some of this excess RTV. It's a good double check just to make sure that everything is concentric. So I like to look down on this shaft and make sure it's all centered up in that hole. Okay, now that we've got everything bolted up to our power steering pump, it is time to do the press fit on the gear. So in order to do this, you are going to need a power steering pump pulley installation tool. Do not try and run this gear on to this with just a bolt in the shaft. It's too tight of a fit, you're going to run into issues. So most auto parts places either sell these or have them that you can borrow and or rent. So get yourself the correct power steering pump pulley installation tool. So next, what I'm going to do is I'm going to get everything rigged up to get this gear pressed on. And the gear presses on the flush side, goes against the pump. So you can see it's got this recess right here. It's got this T bushing that goes out. So it installs on the pump just like that. We include the Loctite 640 pin retaining compound. And what you need to do is you need to install it both on the you need to install the compound on both the shaft, and you don't need much, just a light coat after you clean it really well. So put it on there. You put it on both surfaces. You don't have to worry about this stuff hardening right away because it will only harden in the absence of air. So you can see I've got a light coat on both the bore as well as the power steering pump shaft. And like I said, the flat face of the gear goes down. So we'll get that guy kind of started on there. What I do is I generally get the gear started onto the pump first. On the bench here. And then I'll transfer it over to the vise. What you want to do is you want to press this on until you have approximately 50 thousandths of an inch between the gear and this surface here on the adapter. So here you guys can see how I rig up to actually press the gear on. I've got soft face jaws, aluminum jaws, and I actually clamp the gear in the vise. And then I take my 1/2-inch wrench that's holding the lead screw, and I have it wedged against the one jaw. And then I just take my regular wrench and tighten up the pump. And hopefully you can see the gear going onto the shaft. You're going to run that down until you have approximately 50 thousandths clearance, give or take. It's not super critical. You just don't want the gear to be bottoming out against the adapter. So here's the finished product. You can see we got the gear pressed on there, and Everything is good. This is kind of what it looks like from the end. Some people have asked, is it okay to go ahead and heat up the gear? And at this point, in order to get the gear off, you are definitely going to have to heat up this center bushing. There's no way that Loctite retaining compound will release without heat, so you will have to heat that. Recommendations for if you want to heat it to make it go on easier. Yes, you can do that. I'd put it in a 300-degree oven for about 15 minutes and then press it on after that. So thanks for watching. Hopefully this helps you be able to install your power steering pump adapter or vacuum delete adapter with confidence.